Of the 18,000 refugee admissions slated by the Trump administration for 2020, more than 20% could come from Iraq alone. The administration designated 4,000 of those spots for Iraqi refugees, including translators for the U.S. military and their families. A State Department official tells Newsy this is the first time the U.S. has established an allocation specifically for U.S.-affiliated Iraqis. Last year, in 2018, the U.S. admitted 140 Iraqis. 51 of them were translators or family members of people who worked for the U.S. government in Iraq. So why the change? The State Department official says focusing on Iraqis who assisted the United States will ensure that those who sacrificed their own safety to help U.S. national security have an opportunity to seek refuge in the United States. The decision is potentially life-changing for people like Khalid al-Baidani. Khalid first worked as a translator for the U.S. in 2006.
Working with the U.S. Army, I'm so proud to work with them.
And says he was nearly killed because he worked for the United States. He was shot in his face and shoulder outside the military base in Baghdad.
You can feel like you're a traitor or something.
He was admitted to the United States in 2011, but he and his sister are worried for their family, still in Iraq.
I might be a very dark person to say this, but I feel like it's a matter of time before something happens. And my worst would be one of them being kidnapped.
Or killed.
Their father, two brothers, and little sister have been stalled in the final stage of the application process, the security check, since 2010. They're four of about 100,000 similar Iraqis on a waiting list with no end in sight. But some aren't convinced the new allocation for Iraqis will help. They say the process itself is flawed.
If at the end of the year we've resettled 4,000 refugees, then you've got my voice on tape, and I will acknowledge that I was wrong. But I am not convinced that we're going to get anywhere near that number because I'm not convinced that the White House is really serious not only about resettlement generally, but about resettlement of these Iraqis.
Eric Schwartz is the president of Refugees International and served as the Assistant Secretary of State for Population, Refugees, and Migration under President Obama. He says the administration took a cue from the Pentagon when making this decision. Just 2 months before he announced his resignation, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis wrote this memo, warning the president about abandoning Iraqi translators.
The connections between this population and the United States, I do think we have an obligation.
The State Department tells Newsy the U.S. can't resettle everyone, so they're working on helping refugees in other ways. That includes more than $9 billion in humanitarian assistance to refugees in 2018 alone. But some advocates say it's not enough.
If you're part of my expression, that's just crap. The refugee admissions program, even if we were resettling 100,000, which we should be resettling, it's just a small fraction of overall U.S. immigration.
The new ceiling on admissions, 18,000, is the lowest ever set by the State Department. In his final year in office, President Obama increased the quota to 110,000. President Trump cut that by more than half in his first year.
Really an incredible impact. So